This is document B, Thomas Jefferson's letter to George Washington in 1792. I'm going to read this and explain it as I go because some of the language is tough to get. Dear Sir, I received your letter of August 23rd. In part of your letter, you notice the internal dissensions which have taken place in our government. To no one have they given deeper concern than myself. I am so desirous that you should know the whole truth. So, what's happening here is there is some fighting that's going on between Jefferson and Hamilton, which are called the internal dissensions. They're both in Washington's cabinet. So, it is an internal dissension between the two of them. He Jefferson says he's concerned, and he wants that Washington should know the whole truth. So he is going to try and make himself look good here. If it has been supposed that I've ever intrigued among the members of the legislature to defeat the plans of the Secretary of the Treasury, it is contrary to all truth. So what he's saying is Hamilton spreading this lie that Jefferson was working against him in Congress to try and defeat his plans for, I think, the National Bank. Jefferson says it's contrary to all truth. That is a lie. I value too highly their freedom of judgment that I have, in private conversations, disapproved of the system of the Secretary of Treasury. I acknowledge and avow. Okay, so he's saying that in private he said talk smack about Hamilton, and he has disapproved on what his plans were. He admits that. And the reason he says comes next. His system flowed from the principles adverse to liberty and was calculated to undermine and demolish the republic. So he's saying that Hamilton's plans are adverse to liberty, which means averse to freedom. They're against freedom, and that they were calculated to undermine. So what he's saying here is that Hamilton was calculating a bad plan on purpose in order to take away liberty. Pretty big insult for these guys. It says, if our tensions cannot be avoided altogether, my regard for you will be a sufficient move for deferring it till I become merely a private citizen. At that point, however, I reserve the right to write about the issues that concern the Republic. So what Jefferson is doing here is he's basically threatening Washington. He's saying if they can't get along and one of them needs to go, he's willing to make peace for Washington's part, and he will keep his mouth shut while he is serving Washington. But he's saying here, when he becomes merely a private citizen, he is going to start writing about the issues that concern the Republic. And Jefferson is a very good writer, so this is not an idle threat. He did write the Declaration of Independence. So he knows his way around a word. So what he's saying is that I'll play nice if I'm still in the administration, but if I am kicked out of the administration, I am going to start writing about these issues. Okay, back to the text. I will not let my retirement be clouded by the slanders of a man whose history, if history stoops to notice him, is against the liberty of the country. So he's saying that he is going to leave his job as Secretary of State and go retire. And he does not want this clouded by the slanders. And slanders, if you look down here, are lies and false accusations. And he says that Hamilton is against the liberty of the country. So once again, he's calling him a hater of freedom. Okay, back to the text. Still, however, I repeat the hope that it will not be necessary to make such an appeal. He's saying, I hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does, I'm ready for it. Okay. Next paragraph. I trust that you know that I am not an enemy to the Republic, nor a waster of its revenue, nor a traitor, as Hamilton has written about me. So he's saying that Hamilton has put all these things in writing. She's called him an enemy of the Republic and somebody that wastes tax money. He's called him a traitor. I don't know if Hamilton actually said these things about Jefferson, but Jefferson believes that he did. So he wanted to make sure to Washington to tell him that he is loyal, but he did it in such a way that he said, "Look, I'm loyal, but look at the awful things that Hamilton has written about me." Okay. So the end is, in the meantime, and ever am with great and sincere affection and respect, dear sir, your most obedient and most humble servant, Thomas Jefferson. So he ends it in a typical nice way that they ended all letters back then. And that is Thomas Jefferson's letter to George Washington, explained.